7 Great Ways to Study Better and Effectively. 1. Preparing the environment for good study. If you are looking for effective methods to improve study and learning, in this video we will teach you some innovative ways to increase comprehension and learning. But before introducing these extraordinary techniques, you must first do one thing: provide a good environment for reading even before reading the book. Your environment is as important as the technique you use. Imagine studying in a crowded and noisy environment. These distractions keep you from learning. Focusing, storing information, and processing complex content becomes difficult. In a wrong situation, it doesn't matter how effective your strategies are. Prepare your environment before you start studying. Find a separate room and use a clean and tidy table. Put your phone in the drawer or where you cannot see it. If you want to study with music, use soft music. Any disturbing factor can reduce your productivity. So find a quiet environment for yourself. This way you can make the most of your time and energy. 2. Wear appropriate clothing. There are other things that need to be corrected before reading. Think about the clothes you wear. Do you study with casual pants or pajamas? You are not alone. Many people do things like study with their most comfortable and loose-fitting clothes. You may feel comfortable, but you are studying and you are not going to sleep or watch TV. Your brain is subconsciously controlled by links. Each bond is a mental and emotional connection between two people, or a person's connection to objects and places. For example, your brain connects the bed with sleep. Every time you go to bed, your brain starts to feel drowsy. Why? Because there is a strong connection between your sleep and your bed. Your brain makes deep connections in every aspect of life, just like your clothes. The comfortable clothes you wear for sleep evoke rest and comfort for the mind. On the other hand, the clothes you wear in the classroom are related to study, activity and performance. So those clothes put the mind in a more active state. As a result, change your clothes before school. You do not need to wear suits or clothes, just change your pajamas. 3. How to repeat content with spaces. Well, you provided a suitable environment and dressed as if you were in class. Now is the time for a good study. But where to start? What are the best strategies for good study? Interval repetition is a flexible technique based on scientific evidence. Many students usually enter large amounts of information into their brains at once, but it's an inefficient way to learn. You forget most of the information you have accumulated in your brain, because the brain needs two important things to learn: time and repetition. By giving time, you can understand, practice, and remember large amounts of information. Many study techniques use distance and repetition to improve learning, one of the most famous being the Leitner system. There are 2 advantages to using the Leitner system. You will learn all the definitions. This information is fixed in your brain. 4. Effective study technique by SQ3R method. Leitner helps you memorize terms, concepts, and information, but Leitner's method is not always the best strategy. Suppose you have to try a chapter of a book tomorrow. You do not have enough time to make the whole flashcard. What study habits are most effective for learning when you have little time? The SQ3R method is a good technique for this type of assignment. This acronym actually describes 5 key components of comprehension. First, read what you want to learn. Read the headlines to find out what the text is all about. Then write down a few questions. Keep these questions in mind as you read the details of the text. In the third stage, read the article as if you are answering the questions of the second stage. Then write a short summary of the text you read. This is the most important step of the SQ3R method, because the summary identifies the gaps in your information. By identifying these gaps, you can move on to the 5th step, which is the last step. Browse readings, modify summaries, answer leftover questions, and refer to other sources as needed. With the SQ3R method you can pass each lesson. Now from a biology book to a fiction text. Follow these 5 simple steps to improve your comprehension. 5. Mind map. What is the difference between learning and memorizing? Many students memorize as much as they can before the exam. They fill their brains with concepts, but they mess up on exam day. Why? Because they did not understand what was going on in their brains. The mind map expands your understanding of the topics you want to learn. This technique creates connections and highlights the relationship between phrases, idioms, and concepts. By understanding how these terms relate, you will gain a more complete understanding of the whole subject. You need a large white sheet of paper to make a mind map. Write the title of the topic in the center and the related terms and concepts around it. Now do the same for each of these words. Over time, your mind map becomes a complex network of interconnected phrases. The better you understand this network, the better your study. 6. Study by social learning method. You may have studied well, but the learning process goes far beyond that. Social learning is a fun and effective way to consolidate the information you have learned. After studying for a few hours, find a friend or classmate to talk to. Talk to them about what you have learned and explain the concepts to them. It's almost like you're teaching them. As you explain the concepts to others, you are reinforcing this information in your brain. But not only that, you also discover your learning disabilities. Teaching a story shows others what you know and what you do not know. 7. Information storage, the most important part of learning. The 7th and last method is the most important of all the methods in this list. After filling your brain with information and sharing these discoveries with your friend, you need to store this information in your memory. Good study habits and social learning improve your memory. But the most effective way to store information is a good night's sleep. Many people treat sleep like their enemy and ignore their sleep cycle the night before the exam. If you think 1 more hour of study is better than 1 more hour of sleep, you better think again. When you sleep, your brain processes scattered information from short-term memory, and then transfers it to long-term memory. That's why most people forget about reading on exam night. They miss their sleep and their brains quickly lose the information they have learned. In other words, no matter how effective your study method is, if you do not get enough sleep, your memory will not work properly. Thank you very much for being with us until the end of the video. Please share your skills and experiences related to good reading habits in the comments section.